Hello and welcome to Tangents, the only show on the internet that Jeff has to shit during. I know, that was good. That was good. Let's see it again. Let's see the smite. Yeah, there it is. Daddy, stop. Yes, that's right. Our good friend Christoph is off this evening. If you would rather listen to him DJ, you can go over to his channel, and he's doing a DJ gig for Wax Trax Records this evening. He says broadcasting it on his as well. Yeah, that's what I saw. That's what I read on the on his post. Whether or not that actually got to work, I don't know. Actually, I don't see him on. Yeah, just go to Wax Trax's Twitch and just do that, or just stay here and listen to us yammer for the next 2 hours about music technology and synthesizers and all those things that are incredible. If you mute us and put Christoph on, it'll be like watching Wizard of Oz while listening to Dark Side of the Moon. We've timed it like that intentionally. Yes. Just trip balls. There's no audio from Jeff. That's weird because I'm seeing audio on here from Jeff.
Into this microphone really hard.
Let's see.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Let's see if that works now or not. Jeff needed to actually start talking.
Oh, okay. Does it work now?
Yeah. All right, it's fixed.
Fixed.
Oh, good. It's another one of those mysteriously stupid, the channels aren't going to work the way they should in OBS night.
What is it from Invader Zim? The mysterious mysteries of infinite mystery or something?
Yes. Nothing but whatever the hell you just said. Anyway, I'm Andrew from X Studios Cleveland in beautiful sunny Cleveland, Ohio, here in the United States. With me tonight, of course, is my great friend Jeff from the East Coast, and also our infinitely obnoxious drummer on his desktop, Justin, who just can't let his hands sit still.
Sorry.
You thought you were being quiet. Instead of dunk, 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 dunk. Yes. You have how many drum machines?
I'm going to quote Terry Pratchett with the troll math algorithm. So troll math goes like this: 1, 2, 3, many.
Good. So play those instead.
That's good.
Yes.
Sorry,
You
man.
got a new one recently too, didn't you?
Ish. Yeah.
What'd you get?
I got the drum log.
You got the drum log. Really?
Yep.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Man, what's your thoughts on the drum log?
It's fun. I haven't squeezed its full potential. I actually spent an hour using just the FM capability because they were actually kind of fun to play with.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's definitely one of those drum machines slash instruments where it's not like immediate gold. You have to dig a little for it.
Okay.
But if I never find it, then I'll sell it.
Yeah.
But it's got a lot of potential. Like all the other Korg stuff in this line, the effects sound friggin' awesome. The delay sounds really, really awesome.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'll report back in a couple of weeks.
All right, cool. I know Tony has one, and he actually thinks it's a bit more underrated than he expected it to be.
Yeah.
How does it feel? Does it feel like a wave state or a mini log?
Yeah. Personally, it's more mini log than wave state.
Okay, so it can do some damage if you throw at somebody.
Good.
Oh yeah, I mean the chassis. It's actually got wood on it. Yeah, I think the wood end cheeks make it a little weightier, so I'd have to take them off to really test Jeff. But yeah, the chassis doesn't feel cheap in plastic.
So if you were to load that into a D&D character sheet, what kind of damage are we looking at as a weapon?
Well, compared to the other arsenals in this room, like the Prophet 5 or the OBX8, yeah, I don't know, maybe a D6 on a good day.
Okay, but I mean, the problem with like the Prophet and the OBS is that you're going to get like a penalty for the weight, right?
Oh, that's true. As a projectile, they suck. I
Yeah.
guess if it's like close quarters combat, we're talking D20. If
Okay.
I have to throw it across the room, yeah, no way. D4.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. All right, so that's I mean that's really the important thing about musical gear is like
Yeah.
what
Oh,
what the damage is going to be.
oh, it is pointy though. I will give it that.
Ooh, so maybe like
Discovered-
a D8, maybe D10.
Yeah. Yeah, D8. Yeah, it's pointy cornered. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's respectable. Well, excellent. Congratulations on your drum machine. I'm glad that you got a drum machine because you don't have enough of them.
I know I have a problem.
So you have more than 3, which means you have many.
It's true.
Nothing wrong with that. Well, anything else in your world, Dustin? Or
I've been real busy this month, doing lots of crazy stuff. Not working on music as much as I ought to be. Been working on some crazy hobby computer stuff.
mm-hmm.
Sponsored the Kickstarter for the Mega 65, and it finally turned up from Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been messing with that, installing batteries in it and flash and SD cards and getting it working. It's been fun.
Very good.
Yeah, also the Ethernet to Wi-Fi adapter that I use in the MPC also works on that, which is nice. So I can actually dial into BBS's or use BBS's from the Mega 65. It's pretty fun.
Very cool.
That's cool.
So
Yeah,
wait, you can use you can do Wi-Fi to Ethernet on the MPC? Or
Ethernet to
Ethernet
Wi-Fi.
to Wi-Fi? What are you using for that?
I can. It's like a little dongle. Let me pull it out. Hold on.
Daddy.
I'll get it. Let me. I'm not even going to finish that because you know where I'm going.
I was going.
I'll find it. It's literally something I bought off Amazon. Wasn't expensive. Wasn't a major manufacturer that I'd ever seen, but it works really great for installing stuff on the MPC that way. Because I literally don't have any Ethernet in this room at all. I would have to go to literally the opposite side of the house and crawl under some crap and hopefully not get killed. And
the MPC one is gigantic, so it's not even portable.
All right. I just like that extra convenience of being able to do it.
You know, you can easily take your Mac Mini and throw an Ethernet cable off of it and turn on internet sharing and do the same thing.
Yeah, except my Mac Mini. Oh yeah, the Mac Mini I could. I was thinking about my MacBook, and I'm like, my MacBook has no Ethernet.
No, your Mac Mini.
But yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that.
That's what
Unfortunately,
I do down
it is
here.
also installed in a stupid place, like on the side of that rack in the back, in the little tray. You helped me buy, actually.
I remember that all those years ago.
That's okay. I guess it
gets you into trouble. That's good.
It does, yeah. Trolls will have their trinkets, I guess.
Indeed.
Yeah, I did another really bad.
The name of an album in making. Trolls will have their trinkets. That's like album one of box set of bullshit.
Well, I've seen some lyrics from you, sir, that I think contributions could be astounding.
I love that they show up on our chat window whenever I open it up in Skype.
I read it every time because it's so awesome. I actually purchased something else that makes me a very bad rubber piggy.
Uh-oh.
I bought a Yamaha DX21.
Are you fucking kidding me? What did you sell to put that in? Oh, you didn't. It said now you just have more crap in there. I see.
I have a floating rack area.
A floating rack
so
crap.
Sometimes the Juno's in there, sometimes STVC, sometimes that thing. But I was hankering. I've been really deep diving into FM.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I've been using the OPS 7, which I think is the. And I'm like, I really love it, but I miss my DX7. I miss the sort of like real grungy noise that came out of it. And I did a ton of research and decided that the cheapest, best way to get to where I wanted to get to without rebuying the DX7, which, by the way, I gave to my friend Mark for helping me move because I had a ton of shit. I picked it up from a guy here in Illinois.
Nice.
And it's pretty friggin' awesome. I'm going to replace the LCD screen on it, though, because I'm too fucking blind to see those, like, real, not bright, whatever, low profile LCDs.
Oh, yeah.
Can't do it.
Well, awesome. Congratulations on your FM synthesizer from.
Dig this, dude. Under $250.
Really?
Cheap pick. Mm-hmm.
Damn, son.
That is
People don't
fun.
know that they're really badass. That they're not like the DX7 IIs that have much cleaner signals and don't have the grunge, and they also, because for whatever reason, FM is hip, and so DX7s have shot the fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To a ridiculous price. So
You can still get the TX81Zs for basically free too.
those are the rack mount ones, Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Oh,
you can find those for oftentimes like this same thing, like 150, 200. Like I just pulled up Reverb. There's one right now for 149 in Tokyo. And they're
Yeah.
like, buying anything from Japan means you're gonna, like, in general, the stuff that you get from Japan imported into the US is like very high quality. You just might
yeah.
need like a converter.
It's true. If you look at the pictures on Reverb, they always are like really
Crazy.
minty. Yeah.
This was sealed in plastic and
Yeah.
hidden from
The-
everybody.
I really do like the DX7 Mark II, the FD one. I think it's the best looking synth of that period, and it sounds really, really good, but it's just a little too crystalline. I
Mhm.
feel like you could easily do that with a plugin. So.
Yeah.
Just my humble opinion.
Understandable.
I considered swapping my Op6 for a DX7.
Damn. They sound great, but they weigh a lot. They're like 40 pounds or something.
Mhm. And
There you
get
go.
some kind of external programmer for it.
Yeah. That's the fun part. I really liked is I've always liked about the DX7 is not knowing what the fuck I'm doing. I actually kind of know a little bit what I'm doing now, but when I used to have one, I had no idea.
I
And it
remember
was
when
the
you
most
first got it and we were trying to like figure
Yeah.
out how to synthesize with it and we were just like, what? Oh, so
all I
frustrating.
ever used it for was bass sounds. I
Yeah.
modified stock patches to be even weirder, but they were
Mhm.
all bass, Yeah, I picked it up at Gutter Center, remember? It was
Yeah.
used.
It was like for like
Yeah.
$125 or something like that, I think.
Yeah, way cheap.
Yeah.
I won't even date that because we'll sound even older than we
Yeah,
are.
get
But
off my lawn.
it was a long time ago.
Yes, it was.
I never have owned a DX7, but I have used a DX7, and I will say that I don't think the interface is good. I'm not about to like come out and say that the interface is good, but I do think that it is overly maligned.
Mm-hmm.
In a super weird way, it kind of feels like programming a 303 or something to me, like on the 303, because you do, like step length and then you set the note. It's
Right.
sort of like there's a lot of like that like back and forth feeling that
Mhm.
happen. Like it's not the same thing, but it
It's
feels
because there's 100 shift functions on it. That's why.
yeah, and it just feels like back and forth and back and forth, and
Yeah.
then slider up, slider down, slider up, slider down, slider up, slider down, slider up, slider down, which is not like killer ideal, but I don't know. For FM, I don't really like. I don't know. It's fun enough to make sounds, but I don't really want to make the sounds. I just want to play the bells. Ding, bing, 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 bing.
Right?
I want to play lately bass and be Madonna.
Oh my God.
Well, 80s Madonna.
Well, that's
Thank
yeah.
you.
Or
That's clarification.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or not modern day Madonna. Old school Madonna.
Old school Madonna. Well, that's cool. So what have you been up to, Jeff? What are you doing?
Well, the easel came in. I don't know what's visible and what's not visible. So there's an easel. It came in, and the make noise things came in,
Oh,
and I got a little wooden house for the make noise guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's right there from Too Many Cents. It's very
Wow.
nice. I like it.
Nice.
So I've been playing with the easel a bunch,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got to say I had the had and used the Arturia easel software, and the Arturia easel software is good and sounds pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
It does not sound like the real thing.
No.
It does not sound like the real thing.
No.
Not at all sound like the real thing. I was really I was like kind of surprised at how not like the real thing it sounds. The real one is very robust,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really good. I'm really happy with it. It was a bunch of money. I love it. I love it all. It's very fun to play with, and it's another one with like a funny reputation, kind of like the DX7 has. I think sort of a funny reputation. Buchla stuff has this I think a kind of a reputation for like only making weird noises. There's a lot of weird noises made with Buchla. So the paradigm for anybody who has not spent time with one of these that I would use is if you think of like a Prophet 5. A Prophet 5 has like, I guess you might be able to make a bad sound on the Prophet 5 if you sat down and like really set everything to the wrong position for it. But in general, like all the sweet spots are really like very carefully configured. That's the beauty of it,
Right.
Like that's not a criticism of it. They made an instrument where sort of like the low range was like the low range of anything usable, and the high range was like right at the top. And there's the sweet spots are just a mile wide,
Right.
And it's really there to I don't know, like it's a really good synth for making really nice sounding sounds.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of synths like that, but that paradigm is on like one end of the spectrum, and Buchla is like we've got a lot of range in these oscillators. Do you want 4 hertz or 30,000 hertz? Because I can do both of those for you on this one oscillator. One. And there's no like guardrails on it. So it's easy, and like if you want to make a crazy sound, like it's there for you to make a crazy sound. But it is also like it makes really good, very organic sounding sound because of the way that the gate is implemented. So things that are sort of like, I would describe them as like kind of reedy woodwinds. And especially if you want to push those into like reedy woodwinds playing heavy metal, which is like it's really good for that. So it's been a lot of fun, and I have really enjoyed that. And so I've been doing that, and then on a weird but positive personal note, I've been feeling really bad for a long time, and I finally got it's been a wild ride, but I finally got the final diagnosis that I think that I need, and I'm fixable. Hooray!
Yay!
So I get to go get fixed soon, and that's exciting.
Oh, very good. Well, looking forward to the fixing.
Me
Think
too.
of the Gary Larson cartoon where the dog is talking to the other dog, and he's like, "Hey, I'm going in the car. I'm going to the vet to get tutored."
Oh, the Far Side.
Phenomenauticus.
Oh,
We're your favorite
Phenomenauticus.
gear nerds. Ah, thank you. Bing, you get some love. That's cool. Well, I'm glad you're having so much fun with that easel. I've always felt that the easel is very exploratory kind of feeling, much like surgery. Once you're done, the person's never going to be the same after exploratory surgery, and that's kind of how music is on that thing, I feel.
Do you think that highlights the East Coast, West Coast more than all the other things people talk about? Because I think that maybe that's the real secret sauce with the East Coast, West Coast thing, right? Is that the Moog stuff was really tailored to be all sweet spot, all tea, all shade, all lemonade,
Yeah, there's definitely some of that, and I will say it is exploratory, and it is also exploratory and performance focused. Performance with exploration, like the if you've never put your hands on one, it has some of the best feeling faders you'll ever feel.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They're long. They're much long. They're like, I don't know, 50, 60 millimeters long or so, which is like pretty long for an instrument. And so you have a long throw with a lot of resistance. It's very easy to be like really precise on them, which is really cool. And they're just like, they're right there. And one of the other things that is interesting about it is on a lot of like the Moog stuff, you find yourself like pushing stuff away from you to get it higher and rate or longer sustain or something like that. On the easel, you wind up pulling it toward you, which seems like not a big deal, but it makes it feel really different.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. It's cool. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome.
I'd recommend. They're dumb expensive, but it is really well made. The wood on the end cheeks and everything is like really super well made, really nice stuff.
The finest
Feels-
of endangered
feels like-
wood.
Yeah, I think it might be like acacia or olive wood or something
Ooh,
on the side. It's not like standard brown synthwood.
right. Brown synth from the
Brown
brown
synth.
synth tree. I believe it's where the brown synth wood comes from.
So
Come to
that's-
think of it, yeah. All of my wood synths are pretty much the same color. Well, my Prophet's a little bit lighter than the other.
They
wood.
just didn't put as much stain on that one. It's all just
Yeah.
synthwood.
Yeah, synth wood. That sounds good. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
So what's
Well,
up with you, Andrew?
What's up with me? Not much musically. I'm hanging up the hat on doing RPM this year because everything I was putting out was horrible. Womp womp. So that's okay. That's what RPM is all about, is, testing your limits, and sometimes your limits are don't fucking do it.
I think that should be their new title, their new subtitle.
This is why I don't work in advertising very much. But I am releasing a new album next month. So The Hermit, which was my project that I did for RPM last year, has finally seen the light of day. The artwork just came out and looks fantastic, and so I'm going to be releasing that on X Studios next month-ish. So that'll be cool. I'm excited about that. And let's see what else. I did pass my amateur radio license test, so I am now an amateur radio person. So I've been messing with that and learning all kinds of stupid shit about antennas and weird things like as far as that's concerned. What else? Work has been really busy, so I've been doing a lot of work. Yeah. Bonus Creature, I just got my technician license, but I'm probably going to take the test to get my general license next month. So, because that gives me more bandwidth to mess with. I can get into the HF areas. And I got to say, knowing about synthesizers and shit like that has been very helpful in learning about radio. So, because there's a lot of overlap into both of those worlds. So, if you want to learn about radio, learn about synthesizers, kids. Woo! Yep, there we go.
Okay.
Brought to you
You're,
by Stupid.
Your statement about RPM reminded me, the way you phrased it reminded me of a Dylan Moran bit. If anybody's not familiar with him, he's an Irish comedian.
Oh,
Very
yes.
good.
Seen him
Strong.
live twice.
Yeah,
he's
he was
brilliant.
fun. But he's got this bit about your potential, and he's like, never, it's like it's locked away in a room. He's like, never go open the door. There's always less of it there than you realize. It's like never try to find what your potential is.
Oh. Yeah, he is great at calling people out live. And there was this person that was yelling really loud and asked him, they're like, can you do the bit about blah, blah, blah? And he addressed this person. He looked right at them and was like, now look, he's like, I don't go into your work and tell you to fucking photocopy the same thing you just photocopied 5 times. So prefer if you didn't tell me.
Right?
He did it in a much more delightful and lilting way, and everybody laughed.
Of course.
But
Bonus Creatures, the nice thing is the for those watching on YouTube, for whatever reason, Bonus Creatures has been meaning to get the tech license, but shelved it, was using a little app to learn Morse code for a while, but I've forgotten it all. You don't need to learn Morse code anymore to get your license. That's an optional thing, because so much of modern radio now is digital and like a lot of internet-based stuff and everything like that as well. So it's the test's a lot easier. You don't have to know your dots from your dits or anything like that, and it's a lot better. So yeah. But we're not here to talk about that kind of stuff, because that stuff just gets old. We are here to talk about music news and technology and music and all that fun stuff. I don't know why I'm talking like that.
Because you can.
Radio.
Because it's my
All the
show.
radio.
God damn it.
Got your antennas all riled up.
Oh, Daddy. I'm trying to figure out why Streamlabs isn't giving out our weekly our slew of advertisements.
Buy from us. Give us your money immediately.
Yes.
There, we did it. xstudios.net. Consume.
Buy things.
Send money immediately. We need it. We need synthesizers to buy.
Yes. We need your money so we can pay down the
Box set of bullshit is not going to write itself. It needs to send it over.
Beep boop boop. So, Jeff, do you want to handle the news distribution?
Yes.
All right.
Here's one. Boom.
Boom.
Synthesized.
News. Next piece. No, I'm kidding. So this is FabFilter. They updated their twin synth to version 3. I feel like they've upgraded to Nexus 6.
They don't do a lot of updates though.
No,
I will say, like they don't go up version numbers super often. So when they do, it tends to be like a fairly it's fairly substantive. I didn't go through sort of like the exact change list, and actually I don't have this synth because I have all these synths. So that's the synthesizers are the things that I don't have from FabFilter. But I've used the demo of version 2 and I've listened to it, and I will say it's a crazy good sounding synth and
Absolutely.
super flexible. So for anybody who's, I don't know, like if I were a soft synth person, this would probably be like my soft synth. A lot of the FabFilter stuff is very chameleon like. So you can do kind of whatever you want with it, but
The UI reminds me of their audio plugins. You know, like the ease of use and the manipulation. It looks really interesting. Like the drag and drop stuff is cool. I know that. I think Pigments can do that maybe. But
Yeah, they kind
this
of
is
make a virtual modular kind of thing in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never used this either, but it looks and sounds delightful.
Yeah, I was listening to the demo and it does sound pretty amazing. Like I said, there's a lot of like they put an arpeggiator in here. They added some filters, so that kind of thing. They did a lot of like, as they say, quality of life, because my quality of life is based around my synthesizers, of course.
Yep.
I mean, that'd be stupid if it wasn't. My entire identity is based around what keyboards I use and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, this is going for currently. It's going for €129 Monopoly money, or $129 in American Monopoly money. So if you have 129 Ductarian credits or Solaris, that's probably not enough.
Gold Press Platinum. What else is that?
129 pieces of Gold Press Platinum might be plenty. I don't know what the going rate is on Gold Press Platinum is this week, or any other type of fictitious money product that you might have. If you throw enough at it, maybe someone will buy it. I don't know. But yeah, this looks cool. It sounds really nice. Buy it.
It does have one feature that's kind of like really weirdly notable to me, which is funny that it's notable to me that it's not something that I would use, I don't think, but it has, instead of polyphonic aftertouch, it has polyphonic portamento.
Yeah, I saw that. And that's kind of
It's a very weird effect. It sounds really cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. So
it's almost like an MPE kind of effect in a way.
Yeah.
So if the portamento restarts at each key when you do that's pretty crazy.
Got
Like
this.
if you did like a giant portamento sweep, that could sound.
Yeah. It turns into like the THX deep note.
I was about to say that. Yeah.
Real quick.
THX deep.
Phenomenomicus ask any thoughts on the Albion Colossus. That's the Spitfire audio plugin that they use for like a lot of scoring and stuff like that.
It sounds crazy good.
Yeah. It's not something that I generally use. I don't do a lot of things with like orchestral. Actually, no, that's a lie. I do. but I don't do like orchestral scoring or anything like that.
I've
Yeah.
got some of their free stuff, Spitfire stuff.
Yeah.
It all sounds really, really good, obviously.
Mhm. Yeah,
They,
Spitfire knows what they're doing when it comes to putting together sample packs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like that's actually going for $349 right now.
Yeah.
Oh, if you already own it, never mind.
If you own Albion.
yeah, if you own Albion, yeah. So, but yeah, that's the thing.
I think that their orchestra stuff sounds really good, but I will say here's what I will say like against it,
Mhm.
I guess. Spitfire, a lot of their orchestral stuff is it is very much a professional tool.
Right.
And right now the sound of trailers is a certain sound.
Mm-hmm.
If you like that sound, Spitfire stuff is really good.
Yeah.
It turns out that is what it sounds like.
Yes.
Though. So if you want to make these sort of like Hollywood trope trailer sound, which I'm like not trying to be disparaging against it, but like it has a sound. If you want that sound, their stuff does that sound.
Mhm.
And like the BBC orchestra goes beyond that. There's others that do go beyond that, but a lot of their stuff is like professional tool for orchestrators who are doing this kind of work, who are like trying to knock this stuff out for clients who want it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like that's the sweet spot. Like I was saying about the Prophet 5, like the sweet spot is narrow. It's not like flexible orchestration stuff.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely like its own. Yeah, pretty much what you were saying. I'm sorry.
Phenomenautica says, I was thinking about making a modern movie trailer version of Two Princes by Spin Doctors. I think that's an awesome idea, and you should do it, and it's probably worth buying it for that. Fun story. I've seen them live about a gajillion times because I used to live in a town where they played like every outdoor festival that you would get like, and there was this downtown area that had like a farmer's market and stuff. There was always festivals going on, and you'd be down there like 10 a.m. on a Sunday morning, like buying some squash, and there's the Spin Doctors just playing a show. It's always very funny.
I fucking hate the Spin Doctors. Anyway. So yeah, the Fab Filter, going for $129. I'm sorry, was it $139? $129. Docterian credits.
Yep. You could run it through a Zen delay.
You could, in fact, run it through a Zen delay. And you can run it through the plugin of the Zen delay. The Ninja Tune Zen delay.
Reminds me of Art Vandelay from Seinfeld.
I know. Zen delay just sounds like somebody's name. Like you have to say it fast without it being two words.
Art Vandelay.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't have any experience with the hardware one. I don't know if I've never really touched it.
I played with it at NobCon a few years ago.
I will say the preamble on the Synth Anatomy article really is something we've sort of been predicting and saying, and it's kind of become a truism at this point, that people who make hardware are moving into the software market like heavily. So I think it's just kind of interesting. Like the Moog stuff, I guess, wasn't a big surprise, but this kind of stuff maybe is a little surprise when you're talking about like boutique hardware and then trying to turn it into a plugin. I mean, hey, rock on. It's cool. But it's just interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've got Moog Foger stuff, and their plugins are really good. I haven't tried this one.
Yeah, I have not tried this, but I did play with this at Moogfest, or not Moogfest, I'm sorry, NobCon a few years ago, and it sounds really, really neat. It sounds cool. I've not checked out the VST version of it, but it's. I mean, if it's anything like, and the demo sounds like it is pretty close to what it's going to be like. It sounds really, really cool. Now it's also like $100 for a delay, so
a lot.
It sounds warm and tubey. It almost reminds me of the Dreadbox delay, like in the old Airbuses, the first
Mhm.
generation.
Mm-hmm.
It's got that kind of grit to it. So
Yeah.
if you're looking for the grit, yeah.
Yep. So that's coming out from our good friends at Erica Synths. It's interesting that I don't know if this is just because they can't find parts and so they're moving over into doing plugins as well. I'm not sure. But
Is that is it a digital delay hardware?
it is I think if I remember correctly, it is a digital delay, but it's run through a tube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuzz
It's got, like,
effect, so.
it's got one of those almost like Korg Electribe looking
Yeah.
tube things in the front of it.
Yeah. I was just thinking if they've already got it, if it's already a digital algorithm,
Mm.
turning it into a plugin isn't a crazy thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Good point. If you're going to make a plugin in a box, why not just make a plugin that's a plugin?
Right. Without the tube, you just drop the tube into your computer first. Yeah, so that's out now. $100 is the introductory price. I should say, I think it's normally like 129,
100 million.
$100,000. Cheaper than
Yep.
cheaper than a teenage engineering table, but not by much.
Yeah. Probably not a better price than a Humble Bundle, though.
No, definitely not a good better price than the Humble Bundle.
All right, you got to say that 10 times fast and then drink. When he wakes up, make him drink.
The Humble Bundle. Lordy. Mouth don't want to work. Neither does web browser apparently right now. Yes, the Humble Bundle is just really sorry about that. My computer that I'm reading the news off of has just decided that it doesn't want to load a website.
Oh, cool.
Okay,
That's
now
good.
it changed its mind. Okay. But our internet's looking fine otherwise. We're getting good strength tonight here, folks. So yeah, this is the Music Producer 2023 bundle. It's 8 plugins, sample libraries, and more for 23 euros or $25 or 763 Solari, or a spoonful of spice from Arrakis.
Are you mainlining spice now, Andrew? Is that what's going on?
Can you tell?
The
Jesus.
spice must flow through my veins.
Oh yeah. So this this purchase helps support Alzheimer's Research UK. In here you get all kinds of crazy shit. You get reverbs. You get a pumping compressor. You get a distortion unit. You get a weird sample bending tool, bass synth, a vocal cleaner, some drum samples, and a whole lot of other crazy samples like future retro and that kind of thing. So it's a pretty good deal, especially if you're doing a lot of sample-based production and stuff like that. This has got a whole metric fuck ton of samples in it. Definitely keep you busy for a hot minute.
I think it's cool because I remember maybe like 13 years ago, 12 years ago, major companies were more likely to have like starter pack options like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they've kind of abandoned that. And maybe it's because there's so much, freeware out there now. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think it's cool. I think it's a good idea.
Oh, yeah. And these are all like full versions of all this stuff, too. So, get it, knock yourself out. Humble Bundle's pretty great. Usually, you can do it for they have Humble Bundles for all kinds of crazy shit, like video games and that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah.
This one's going on for another 7 days. So you have a week to get this, help out a good cause, and get a whole bunch of cool shit that you may or may not use. But hey, at the same time, it's like $30 is not bad for a whole bunch of stuff that you might not use. I would say that's like, I would say if you bought 8 gigantic packages of Swedish fish, you're not going to eat 8 gigantic packages of Swedish Fish. This would cost about the same amount. And you might use this without dying of Swedish fish overdose.
Which is a real thing.
It is. It is. I don't really eat Swedish fish anymore because I ate so many Swedish fish in my life.
Wow.
Plus, I discovered Scandinavian swimmers, and they're far better.
They are. They're definitely better.
Yeah.
I've never seen this.
Oh, they're at Trader Joe's.
Trader Joe's, yeah.
Huh.
Yes. I highly recommend it. They're fantastic. Yes, yes. You know what else is fantastic?
No.
Well, Justin does, and that is the free virtual synthesizer based on the Commodore 64. The BPB64. Justin, have you downloaded this, installed it, and wrote an album with it yet?
And not an album, but I've played with it. I think you're talking about low-cost sort of entryways into stuff. So, I mean, I do have Ploeg's ChipSynth, which is obviously a more exhaustive sort of emulator of a number of 8-bit synths.
Oh, yeah.
8-bit computer, sorry. The problem, though, is that, it's not easy. And God forbid doing real SID programming is not easy either. So, the cost of entry is very low here, and it's sample-based, and it sounds really good. Mm-hmm. It sounds good. I mean, I'm not at all opposed to sample-based stuff. I think, like, for example, the UVI stuff is real strong.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, for free, this is amazing, and it's good fun. And I noticed there's sort of trend going on with sort of retro wavy stuff now, with a lot of mixing in a little bit of chiptune music, and I mean that's been going for a minute, but it seems to be gathering a little bit of steam. Mm-hmm. And so for folks that want to do that and don't want to learn how to use a tracker on a real C64. Yeah, it's a good option.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. And like I said, the price cannot be beat. For it costs nothing but your email address, and you just
one thing that's cool with it, and I guess the ChipSynth stuff does kind of too, is like obviously this was very limited, and then the way you interfaced with it was limited in terms of polyphony, whereas with this thing you can drench it in effects and make it sound like a pad, and it's kind of like an interesting repurposing. I think it's kind of cool.
Excellent. So yeah, that is a thing out there, folks, and go get it. Just get it. Put it on your computer. What's the worst that can happen? You explode? Who fucking cares if you explode, right? It's just exploding.
Once you exploded, you probably don't care very much about the explosion that happened, as long as it was big enough.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
It'd be a shame, though, if the last thing you heard was like some guy going stochastic.
I know, right? Stochastic. God, this story. Fucking A. This is a free thing as well. This is the free Xenos Zen Harmonic Stochastic Synthesizer.
Yeah, stochastic.
This sent me down a rabbit hole, by the way.
And where did you go?
So I was researching this guy, Iannis
Xenakis.
Iannis Xenakis. Yeah, I mean, first of all, this is all very academic. And when I was at Kent State, there was an electronic music program there, and this was the kind of stuff that was going on there, besides like the leftovers of sort of music concrete. Mm-hmm. And it's so fucking dry and academic and mind-numbingly, whatever. But it's funny because, my career life, I worked with stochastic algorithms for completely other purposes than this. So I found that I did a little sideways research on it just today because I was like, I really need to know this. And it is, I would say, definitely not a misuse of the word stochastic from a sort of, I think many people would use words like pseudo-random instead, but it's like random with parameters. Mm-hmm. And it's fascinating. It's just also, it's like 20th century composition. Like either you can listen to Schoenberg or you can't,
right. No, there's
like,
that. Mm-hmm.
And, listening to some of these compositions, it's like, I'm not sure. It's kind of like mid-century modern art. I don't know if I like it. I'm still on the fence. Mm-hmm. And that's how I feel about this stuff. It's fascinating and cool, and wow, this is far out. Mm-hmm. But
so if you were to And Jeff, have you tackled into any of this at all? Any of the stochastic stuff or any of the works of Ioannis Xenakis?
Nope. I'm not deep in that world.
All right. So Justin, if you could take this and plan a menu around listening to Ioannis Xenakis, what would you put into that menu?
Oh, you mean like the actual works that this guy did?
If you were doing like a
I
listening,
don't know.
if you were doing a listening dinner, what food would you serve for an Ioannis Xenakis listening dinner?
Definitely asparagus and hollandaise with broken glass on top.
Okay.
What would you turn into foam? Like what food would be turned into a foam to go beside it?
Foam as in like foam padding foam?
No.
No, like the
Have you had like the
foam.
The deconstructed stuff where they turn it into foam? I did have one of those that was really interesting one time at a restaurant that we went to where they made a dill pickle foam. It was good.
Oh, foam. You mean like a meringue foam? Like I
kinda.
get it. I see what you're saying. Yeah. That's just like super fancy, highfalutin cooking. You know.
Have either of you have seen the movie The Menu?
No.
Oh, okay, yeah. If you get a chance to, it's a kind of a dark comedy based around like the modern food deconstruction movement and
is that
chef
one
worship.
With, what's his face? Guy that plays Voldemort.
Yeah,
Ralph Fiennes.
Yeah, he's in it. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. You'll either really like it or you'll fucking hate it.
Perfect.
Yeah. It sounds like
that's what I dream of.
Yeah, it was 50-50 here in the house. I loved it. Stasha hated it. I thought it was fantastic.
It's maybe one of those things like it's like Lynch or Peter Greenaway. You either love it or hate it kind of deal.
It reminded me a little bit of Peter Greenaway, without it being quite as bombastically over the top as like The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover.
Which is his masterpiece.
It's still one of my favorite movies though, because I love that fucked up stuff. Yeah,
I love it too, and I love that I bounced into it in a local video store.
Yeah,
you know?
me too.
No clue what the fuck it was about.
Yep. I'm like, oh, this looks cool. What the fuck is? What the fuck? Whoa, fuck me.
Right.
Yep. That was a great movie. That's literally the conversation I had while I was watching this movie.
If you haven't seen it, Jeff, you should check it out.
What is it? I've definitely not.
It's called
The Cook, the Thief, the Wife, and Her Lover.
Yeah, The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover is the name of this movie.
Thank you.
Peter Greenaway is a British director who is very much a student of like the Dutch masters of painting, and all of his works have that look to it, and everything is very like light focused and color focused to the point where it becomes kind of a running gag in the movie. Like,
he's definitely
they walk into a room, different rooms, and their clothes change colors to match the rooms and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's very vertical, like if you rather than horizontal.
Yeah.
I think like The Belly of an Architect is another weird one he did.
Yes. He did a documentary from a movie he did recently, which was J'accuse was the name of the movie, and it had the dude that played Bilbo in it. I can't remember his name. But he played Rembrandt, and the whole thing was
Ian Holm, I think.
No, the other guy, the younger guy.
Oh, the guy from The Office, the British Office.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, he did a movie about the painting The Night Watchman.
Oh, nice.
And then he did this documentary about The Night Watchman. And the documentary about this painting is, I think it's on Amazon, so you can look it up. I think it's just called The Night Watchman. And the documentary is amazing because he takes the painting apart and shows what the painting was really doing, which was accusing a specific person of murder.
Jeez.
And this is the painting that ruined him. Like it just like he got pretty much like excommunicated from the church, and no one would talk to him, and he lost all of his status for this painting.
Wow.
And it's amazing.
I'm gonna have to check this out.
Yeah, it's fucking.
Yeah,
if you like art history, then, and I know you do. You have a background in that, Justin.
Well, my father. Yeah.
Well, that's your background.
Yeah.
I was looking up that movie, and the Cook, the Thief, the Wife, and Her Lover, and Jean-Paul Gaultier did the costume design for that.
Yes.
And
Yep.
he
Helen
also
Mirren is in it. Yeah.
he also did the costume design of one of my favorite movies, which is The City of Lost Children.
Yes.
Oh, that's a
Yes, he
great
did.
movie.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic film.
And
yeah.
that one's really good. Another Jean-Pierre Jeunet that's really good is Delicatessen.
That one is my favorite of Genet's
Such-
movies.
It's very good.
Yes.
So good.
And then
So
Amelie helped me make my way through France. I actually learned the secret of getting through Paris without having to take a train around Paris to get to another train station. But instead just use a staircase. Amelie taught me that. The name of the documentary, Justin, is called Rembrandt's J'accuse.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it's on Amazon, but it was really good. But yeah, Genet is an amazing director. His last film was terrible though.
Mm.
Good thing I barely watch any movies.
Yes, and that's
Delicatessen might have been the latest movie I've seen. It's been a while.
Wow. It says it's
Yeah.
a Dutch, German, and Finnish documentary.
Yep.
Good gosh. Okay.
Yep.
No, this is definitely getting put on the watch list next.
Oh yeah, yeah. Watch it.
We're
It's great.
tangenting.
'Cause
We're tangenting hard tonight,
I know,
folks,
right?
so-
That's okay. Peter Greenaway narrates
Martin-
the whole thing.
Oh, cool. Martin Freeman. That's the guy you were thinking of.
Yeah, Martin Freeman's the guy
Go
who was in the
about
movie. So yeah,
Hmm.
fucked up, good stuff. Peter Greenaway is fantastic. Jeannot was great, but yeah, Jeannot did a made for like a movie that ended up just going straight to Netflix, and it has that feel of the Genet stuff, but it was just insipid.
Oh no.
It was just unwatchable. And it like the premise of it looked fun, but it was just bad.
Womp womp.
I know. I can't remember what it was called. That's how bad it was. Help me out, folks.
Nope. I don't know what movies. I don't know what any movies are.
I can't
Lord of the
remember.
Rings.
Nah, it was some dumb name. It was just bad. It had the potential of being interesting, but it had a lot of the same people that were in Delicatessen because he uses a lot of the same actors over and over again, especially the one
Ron
guy
Perlman.
that was the yeah. Well, he only used Perlman once, I think, didn't he? No, he used it
Put
twice
Ron-
because he was in that fourth Alien movie that he did too. Because yeah, Jean-Paul Jeannot did an Alien movie and that was terrible too. Yeah, never mind. He made some good movies and some terrible movies. Hey, we're getting a whole bunch of drop frames. That's awesome.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we are now at 10% drop frames, which means they've all happened within the past few minutes. Anyway,
Was it the young and prodigious T.S. Spivet?
no,
That came out in 2013.
it was
The
not.
Micmacs.
That's the
came out
one,
in-
Micmacs.
Okay.
That was just bad.
Yeah, he did Alien Resurrection, which
He
really
did.
was not
That
good.
was nothing good about that movie at all.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. He loves working with Ron Perlman, though, so that's no surprise.
Yeah.
I like Ron Perlman.
He's an interesting character. Do you know what else is an interesting character? The arithmophone.
The arithmophone, is that?
The arithmophone.
Wait, where?
You skipped one.
Did I? Oh,
You-
did I?
You had the wrong. We got to go back. I can't. Copy.
I'm just kidding.
I can't copy and paste that much. It's not in the
Yeah,
budget.
the arithmophone is not real. I was just making that up shit. No, I'm just kidding. What else
Made
is
up.
fun to work with is a Tascam Porta Studio. There you go.
This
buddy.
one is kind of an interesting thing. It's so this is a tape loops thing specifically. Not just recording the 4 tracks. This is like kind of a Mellotron. Is basically what it is.
I thought it was going to be what you said, Jeff. I thought it was just going to be a Porta Studio emulation. And when I watched the video, I was like, oh, fuck. This is like
Yeah,
a Tascam, like, music concrete making
Yep.
device.
Yeah.
Yep. There's this dude on Instagram, Blank Forms, who does a lot of really cool tape stuff. Like tape loops and sound design with tape loops. And it reminded me a bit of that.
Yeah, was an artist called released under Muslim Gauze.
Oh yeah. I can't remember his name. But
He was he died of a rare blood disease, unfortunately, but
Yes.
pretty young. But yeah, he was a big tape loop person,
Mhm.
which I only found out later, and I was like, wow, he did that shit with tape loops, like
Yeah.
not even samplers, you know. But I guess he was a drummer, and so he just had sort of a ability to deal with rhythms. But still, I don't know. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, he does some pretty crazy shit. But this is crazy shit too. This is a Max for Live device for Ableton Live. And it's like an audio manipulation, but like in a way that tape gets manipulated and stuff
Mhm.
like that, and allows you to do a lot of weird sounding loop based stuff. It's going for $20 right now. Normally 30. If you have Ableton, if you have Max for Live, then you can pop that in there and make yourself Muslim Gauze.
Would you use this, Jeff?
Would I use it? I wouldn't use it because it would just be a big mess in my workflow.
Sure.
If I were an in the computer person, I would definitely consider using it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Really, the only thing I use the computer for is like I just record and I'll do some arranging. Like if I've recorded some stuff in there, and then do I don't know, like some effects. I have some VST effects. Some things like I have the Moger Fogers. I bought that glow reverb.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like it, Jeff?
Yeah, it's good.
It's really good.
It's
Yeah.
Car tracks that I sent you.
Oh, nice.
There's 2 layers of reverb. There's a Boss reverb pedal, and then it's really subtle on there just to give it a little bit more air and space on the glow stuff.
Nice.
But it's yeah. So I think it sounds good. It sounds believable. I mean, emulating tape cassette. I don't know anything about the software about it, but it seems like it's fairly approachable for a lot of programmers to do it believably.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds good.
Now, have you ever done any kind of like weird tape manipulation stuff with any of your Porta Studios?
I don't do loops because I don't have the patience for that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Like, not good at like fiddly stuff, like splicing tape. I have done a bunch of things where I will play it, record long stretches of pads to it and then pitch them up or down and things like that, and use them as beds and things, and play it kind of like a one pitch mellotron, or put like 4 notes on it or something like that, and then like fade chords and stuff in. I've done some kind of like a little bit overly goofy stuff where I have figured out how to turn it into basically like play 3 notes per track, but with the pitch control. The pitch control will let you do stuff. So you can do some neat stuff there with it, but I mostly just use it as a saturation effect. I really like the amps on the 414 and 424, especially for synthesizers, and especially for I would say kind of like dirty leads and basses. The preamps on the cassette Porta Studios are like real good.
Interesting.
Especially if you abuse them. If you push them harder than they're supposed to go on them, and get it into sort of like into the clipping, they clip really nicely.
I remember I had a Porta Studio that I would do that a lot intentionally because it just sounded really gross and fun.
Yeah, they overdrive
the shit out of them.
They overdrive really, really well, and then there's some weird stuff that you can do with tape. So tape, the way that tape doesn't just blow out in the same way that digital will blow out when you hit it too hard, and so it actually sort of like because of magnets, man, like how do they work? the tape itself winds up kind of compressing the sonic range a little bit and just printing like what it can stand.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get this sort of like mid-heavy oversaturation that happens on tape, and it drops off all the highs, so it doesn't sound harsh at all when you oversaturate tape, which is cool. And another thing that you can do with tape that I don't think they will probably emulate very effectively here is if you use, this is more of a thing with like lower quality tape, or really old stock tape. If you record it at really high volume, I don't mean necessarily like at the preamp where the preamp is distorting, but if you actually just like print really high volume and then you erase it, it leaves a ghost on the tape. And if you are careful with what you're doing with starting stuff, or you're doing it with a drone, you can overprint the same thing over and over and like erase and get this like really like very weird warbly ghosting stuff. It's a lot of work. But it doesn't fully erase if you record too loud onto magnetic tape, especially like cheap tape.
I've seen that in the and if you've ever messed with the old Echoplexes, back in the late '80s, I got to work in the studio where they had one, and the tape had to be changed because you get these artifacts. It was really interesting.
And
sometimes they go ahead.
They just won't go.
Yeah,
you can't erase them.
Yeah, I know. But sometimes they're cool, but sometimes not, right?
Yep. If you're going for that and you're trying to do that, it can be an interesting effect, especially if you keep overprinting the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It can be this sort of like I don't know. It wounds up sounding oftentimes like very far away and kind of spectral, and it can sound like a weird ghosty chorus or something, or a weird delay. It's cool. It's a neat effect. Tape's. I think it's a real shame that tape is not like they're just not making that many machines for it anymore. Yeah. It is actually like one of the few pieces of hardware. Like CDs are cool because they sound really good and they're small, they're environmentally friendly, they last really well. And so for archiving purposes, I still buy a ton of CDs. I have a heap of them around, but man, tape, I think it's better, and it's fun to play.
Well, that's cool. Well, thank you for the information on that. I learned something a little bit about tape and the instability of it and stuff like that, and how that could be fun. It's almost as fun as an arithmophone, because I was kidding. It does exist.
It does.
It does. If Qbert made an interface, a keyboard interface, this would be what he would make. This would be the arithmophone. The arithmophone is very weird kind of interface that gives you all different types of tuning schemes. And they have a web app that you can mess around with and play from wherever. And, preferably a touch screen, they say. So you can get a lot of the fingies on there and stuff and really play with it. And then they have a keyboard interface, which is just like a MIDI controller. And they're working on a couple of native apps and stuff like that. It's just kind of the video is just kind of a bizarre, weird little button pusher, basically, kind of keyboard interface, which is what most keyboards are, just pushing buttons, according to Roger Lynn.
What confuses me about this thing is it's a software keyboard, right? Mm-hmm. It's just fascinating. So it's like a software controller for other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of novel. I mean, I've actually wished someone would make a like an emulation of the sort of like Moog modular sequencers that I could run inside of my DAW.
Yeah. And
then run it as a side instrument. And so to me, like this is kind of an interesting gateway to that. The micro tuning and stuff is just really cool too. But you're right, it is the lost level of Qbert, 100%.
Yeah. You could get like an SQ1. They're cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the sequencer. Yeah. I know.
Not exactly the same thing as the Moog, but it's not crazy different either. In terms of function, I mean, it's crazy different in terms of like how nice it is.
Yeah, build quality and everything else.
But I mean, knobs. You know, you get 2 knobs per set.
Yeah. No,
but I mean,
get
do
it.
you have to peel the plastic off the top of the knobs?
Doesn't come with that benefit, unfortunately.
Oh, too bad.
Yeah,
So,
thanks for ruining my life, Jeff, for that one.
Well, anytime.
But they also have this keyboard interface as well that, it's just kind of like a MIDI controller. And it sounds, it's a cool, and I like, I'm a big fan of different styles of interfaces other than the keyboard interface to work with your music gear. I spout about that often enough that people should know that about me. So this is kind of neat as far as that's concerned. But it still just looks like it's just a button pusher in a way. It doesn't say much about the instrument, about how the what's the word I'm looking for here? I don't fucking know, like aftertouch or anything like that. It just looks like it's just an on-off kind of switch.
I think it's also non-intuitive from a what the hell note am I playing? Yeah. I mean, something like the Linstrument is like a grid, and so even if you're using microtoning, you know whether you're going up or down or sideways. So this is a little bit more, it's like kind of tripping balls a little bit.
Yeah, and
all the way in too. It's not all the way in like the Buchla Thunderbird.
Right.
I mean, it's a neat idea. If they made a hardware unit, that'd be cool, I think.
Yeah.
The problem is trying to find stuff that's going to respond to sort of different tunings and Scala and all that stuff. So, I mean, I wish they would make a software instrument that actually we'll get to one later in the show that might be a good thing to control with this, but we'll see.
So there's actually a structure to this. So it's not just like some kind of random thing.
Sure.
Just kind of like how the Linstrument works. I mean, I think the Linstrument is basically kind of like, you just laid a bass guitar on your lap and you're playing it that way, which is kind of what they're going as far as that's concerned. This does have like stepping and stuff like that as far as like the notes in the colors and how they are arranged. Like as far as that's concerned and how that works. Their manual is incredibly detailed on how these are set up and how everything is. And so it actually does make sense. I don't know how intuitive it is. At first, I've not really gotten a chance to really sit down and figure that out. But
it looks cool.
It looks neat, and it's an interesting idea. So,
I guess I'm always looking for structure, and which is maybe the kind of opposite of what you really want with a novel controller, right?
Well, I think it depends. I think there still should be some kind of structure because it should still have a degree of musicality to it. I think, you should still be able to sit there and eventually figure out this, this is a progression that I can create with this.
All right.
Yep.
So, and I think like the Linstrument at first, when you turn the Linstrument on, it looks confusing as fuck. I think any of those, or even if any of that, what do they call it? What do they call that kind of style of musical input? That's I can't remember now. Jesus Christ, I'm getting old. But like the Deluge has it as well. Isomorphic.
Yeah.
The isomorphic view at first it just looks confusing because it's just like it's a bunch of fucking buttons, and until you understand what you're doing and stuff like that, and once you see it, then once it clicks, it makes a lot of sense. It's funny whenever I post a picture of the Deluge on my Facebook, my friend Andy Garfield gets angry because he's like, "There's too many buttons on that thing." He's a soundtrack composer, and so he's very much a keyboard person. So he sees those other kinds of things, he's just like, ugh, he just hates it. So whenever he posts there's too many buttons on it, I ask the Mozart question: which buttons would you like me to remove? And he replies with little red circles on round random buttons.
All of them.
Yeah,
Just all of them. Get rid of the buttons.
all the buttons need to go. What do you see?
I can see both sides of the argument, but I think it really boils down to what works for you. You know.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, there's comfort, I think, in using a keyboard. I'm not a very good keyboardist, but I'm, once you get over the initial hump of the isomorphic thing, it becomes ridiculously intuitive. And that hump is pretty small once you realize the fact, like, oh, okay, this is this is this, and they're all, they all make sense, and it's far easier to play a chord, I think, on an isomorphic device than it is on a keyboard, because no matter where you put your fingers and in that same chord, just like on a guitar, you don't have to change the fingering too much when you're doing like a certain type of chord and stuff. It's the same thing on this isomorphics.
Well, yeah, you can do stuff like I've done on the Machina, for example, where it's like you set it up to be a well-tempered scale so you can't fuck up.
Right. Oh yeah, you can do that as well if you want to. It's funny because I have a PreSonus Atom SQ, and it's, I don't know if you've seen those before or not. So, sorry, I'm gonna move shit around and shake everything up because it's right in front of me. So this is the Atom SQ right here.
Oh yeah. Isn't that's a PreSonus, right?
Yeah, it's PreSonus Atom SQ. And when it's powered on, the lights actually light up like a keyboard. So it's like it shows you, but you can also you can change the scale, you can change the the root note and stuff like that, but you can also change it so it's just like literally a line of keys, and they're all in scale and they're all in the same, you can't fuck up a note or something like that.
That's cool.
So you can program all that stuff out, so you can just focus on making music, and everything is already taken care of as far as that's concerned. And it's a pretty decent controller, because you can also do things like you can flip it to a different mode, and then it's just kind of like an XOX style drum machine programmer. So you just punch in your loops into that really quick and stuff like that too. So I love using this thing. This is like my main keyboard controller now.
Nice.
It's not easy to use. But yeah. Anyway. So yeah, our Arithmophone, if you like arithmetic with your phones.
Mm-hmm. You could use your Atom to control the Arithmophone.
You could.
To control. You just like layer them all the way down.
Like it'd just be
controllers.
Miles and miles and miles.
Yeah.
And then you can plug all that shit into an Electra 3.
Mm-hmm.
The only synth you need to create a hint.
Yeah, and Hans Zimmer owns it.
Did you post this, Jeff?
No, he does not put it up.
No, Andrew did.
I did.
I was going to say, 2 plugins in one show for Jeff is too much, man.
I know, right?
Yeah, I was waiting for y'all to catch me on having not hit the enter button on the paste. That was
I was looking. I'm like, where is it? Aphex
right
Twin
there.
owns it.
Yeah, waiting to go. The list it's very funny. They have on this webpage. Sorry, it's a sense. It sounds good. It's a good sounding sense. But hold on. The important thing is this webpage where there's a carousel.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking at it
right now.
The carousel is the funniest thing.
It is.
Greg
Lee Scratch Perry.
He won 5 Grammys and sold 60 million albums. There's no statement about anything. Just he did it.
Yeah.
Martin
Hans Zimmer
Goron
created the soundtrack of 150 movies. He owns all Tone 2 products.
Well, what it is obviously, this person who is interesting, because I actually watched the video that he did, who's the creator of a bunch of these plugins.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if he has a team or there's just this dude, but seems very eccentric fellow.
Yes.
But like, yeah, I mean, obviously he's probably looking for people buying his stuff. I mean, he's got Michael Cretu and Zed and all kinds of people in here. He says Run DMC, but then he lists Joseph Simmons only. But
right.
Look, it's fine. I mean, he's just trying to make that money here.
So this is a cool synth, though. I gotta say.
Yeah, let's talk about this synth and not this carousel.
I know.
Sorry, that's my fault.
I know. The carousel's a bit fucking ridiculous. Bon Jovi, they use Electra. It was played live on stage during the European tour. Skrillex tracks
Yeah.
rely heavily on Gladiator, Electra 2, and it's Martin Gore owns it.
No, it's gorgeous, and a lot of these other synths they do are gorgeous, but it's super like EDM trance anthem-y. I mean,
Yes.
that's got to be your jam here. Okay, let's keep it realistic.
Oh yeah, it is. It's got it. It's very much it's like a little workstation for your DAW, and you can go nuts with it and make all kinds of wub and oons.
But it sounds great. It has a great UI. I'm
Yeah.
really impressed in general in the last few years with even smaller companies like this being able to put out just banging UIs.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there's a lot to be said for that, and I give this dude full credit for that for sure.
Yeah. It's a very
I mean,
well
I
thought
don't-
out layout.
I don't know from a synthesis standpoint. I get the feeling most, and I hate to say this, and I don't mean this in a disparaging way, but I suspect this is a preset machine for a lot of people.
Yeah, probably.
But if they're damn good presets, whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
Vangelis made entire albums with presets, so who's to judge?
Right. Yeah, Pet Shop Boys do that all the time. Most of their shit's presets.
Yeah, why not? If it
Mhm.
sounds good, fuck it.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, this is the Tone 2. It's going for $149 right now. 149 euro Eurobeat. Eurofest band musics. Or 149 I don't even know. I was trying to think of some of the most Euro trash, but 149 Gus Gus's. Six. It's also
Non-socialism.
if you have 6 Aphex Twins laying around, you can also buy it for that.
Well, they're twins. You got extras.
Yeah, but it's going to
Oh
cost
my
you like
God.
600 BTs if you've got like because it's going to cost a lot of BTs to get
Oh
this
my
thing.
god. Yeah. If Richard D. James played at your wedding, you might like this.
Richard D. James doesn't have this thing. He can't hack this thing. There's no way. Richard D. James only wants a thing that makes horrific skronk noise that he can adjust and edit,
Yes.
hack, and tear apart.
Yes. I don't know.
Probably.
Unless he bought it, printed it out in a CD, and then shredded it. I don't really know.
He took the code and printed it under a printer and ran it through a shredder and
Yeah. Say
Yes.
code circuit bending. Now that's something I haven't seen. Let's see more of
Right.
that.
I know, right? That'd be fun.
That's a glitch art in a way. I
Yeah.
mean, that's
Yeah.
kinda,
For sure.
it's like opening something on Audacity as a INI file and saving it back out as a JPEG.
I've not done that. That's brilliant. I'm gonna check
There's
that
there's a whole so you can open a lot of image files in Audacity and then apply audio effects to them and save them back out as image files, and that's how a lot of glitch art's made.
Huh.
Interesting. Did not know that.
Me either. Now I'm gonna have to try it.
That's cool.
There's tutorials.
Audacity is the gift that keeps on giving. I'll tell you
The
what.
GIF. I see what you did there.
Yeah, check for some
Here,
tutorials online because it is it's not a lot less straightforward than what I just described, but there is a little bit more to it than what I described in some specific steps. So you can't just if you just went and file open, here it is. You're not gonna have a great time, but it isn't hard to do.
Oh, you mean like Chat GPT? I can just go there.
Yeah, exactly.
I really have a good time anyway, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Tone 2. They're ludicrously massive Electra
Mm-hmm.
now with ludicrously massive updates. Your flagship for your EDM banger music. Enjoy. And if you need help with that, then AI is here to assist you. We mentioned AI just a minute ago with ChatGPT. Now we're going to be talking about the Tonex from IK Multimedia. Whether or not this is just marketing argle-bargle or what, they are saying that it is an AI machine modeled pedal
cool.
Yeah.
But is it though? Is it really? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is. I mean,
it just feels like people are just throwing the word AI in front of stuff now.
I kind of feel like that as well. So this is a modeled pedal.
The modeling pedal. There's a bajillion of them. You didn't need machine learning to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's saying AI machine modeling pedal brings your Tonex tone models live on stage. Perform with sounds indistinguishable from the real gear. No computer required. What they're not saying is if you're playing this on stage, you're going to be playing in front of a whole bunch of people that don't give a fuck if it sounds indistinguishable from the real thing or not.
So what's mental to me about this is that it started out, and I didn't know anything about this Tonex stuff, but that it's kind of like the guitar rig stuff, I guess, from NI, right? So they've got a whole software suite that they've put in a box.
Right.
So again, it's like a total like upside down world right now. Like I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, the Tonex Max or whatever it was that they had, and
yeah, it's still
in Amplitude. I remember
popular.
Amplitude.
Yeah. I mean, Jeff and I have talked about modeling and stuff. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. I mean, is it cool to be able to emulate a bunch of amps media in a mediocre way?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I mean, it's cool. I mean, some of them are pretty better than others. I don't know anything about this one, but
yeah, and I don't know if this is like, I mean, what's the difference between something like this and like physical modeling? Is it just another term for the same thing?
My guess here, what they've done with this is machine modeling. Is if I had to assume what they're doing with AI here is it's probably they're using a whole bunch of machine learning to create like variants in the algorithm or like vary some of the parameters or variables that they've used, and they've got their source file. Like they got their Mesa Boogie over here, and they're playing a guitar through, and they've got a recording, and they've made the same recording through this one. And they're probably just using like an ML tool to do some sort of like basically like waveform analysis to say like change these variables until these things hit. I mean, like ML is basically the scene from Jurassic Park where they're talking about the raptors and they're like they systemically check every part of the fence. And the question is, does this work? Nope. Okay, next one. Does this work? Nope. 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 Nope.
Yeah, I mean,
learning and it's
just a giant if then else or case statement. I mean, it's not very sophisticated.
All it is. It's like it's some like magic thing. You just feed it a training set and it goes, nope, that's wrong, until it doesn't.
But I mean, it's becoming a tool. It's becoming a ubiquitous tool. I have friends that work in the gaming industry, and they use it for various things. But I mean, it's just like any other tool at this point. It's mildly disingenuous to book it as an AI machine modeling pedal. If you're,
But to be fair, one of the things that they talk about, I'm flipping through the manual because what the fuck is wrong with me, right? They do have another device thing that you can get called the Tonex Capture. And what that does is that allows you plug that into whatever amplifier you have, and then that thing creates a model of it.
So we're talking like convolution reverb kind of activity.
That's what it is. Just an IR.
Yeah, it's still kind of a cool idea, though. I like the fact that you can.
I'm not trying to diss it. I just don't like. I like you said in one of the earlier ones about the Buzzy McBuzzwords.
Yeah,
I just feel like
it does. The AI. We use AI to do this kind of thing. You don't. But I like this idea because apparently you can also like upload your amps and stuff like that, and people can download these things and stuff like that. So you have like this little user community of people like putting up amp models and stuff like that. And that's kind of a neat idea.
Well, I'm gonna model my 1984 Crate amp that I've got down here from. I know, right?
Totally
has a great overdrive, actually, Jeff. For if you're making like hardcore pop, sounds great.
But yeah, otherwise, I feel that this whole thing is just like it's more marketing garble. It's just we're using AI.
Yeah.
No, you're not. It's like back when everything was cyber for a while. And then everything.
Nothing is AI.
Yeah.
Nothing AI. Everybody keeps using this word, and it's very funny.
Yeah.
I'm like pro it for a lot of things too, because I think it's gonna. Well, I mean, who knows? I think anything probably could be for good or for evil, but AI has a massive upside opportunity for the human experience. In the like in a work front, if I mean, people talk about like a 4-day work week or a 3-day work week. Like, if anything is going to get us there, it's going to be AI. And if AI doesn't get us there, nothing's ever going to.
Yeah.
Like if we or machine learning, but like if that's that, like there's the opportunity. And if it doesn't come to pass there, like it's never coming to pass with anything. Until there's like, I don't know, some sort of like hideous revolution and we just like yeet people into the sun.
And Butlerian jihad comes about.
Yeah.
Or we could just be like a Western European country. But yeah, no, that's fair, Jeff. I think that I think in medicine it has a lot of opportunities. So
yeah, for sure.
Justin and I went to a class at Moogfest a number of years ago about AI. Remember that?
I do.
Yeah, and that was weird because it was kind of, they did weird shit at Moogfest, and half of it made no sense, and I think that's what made it so wonderful. And this class on AI, it wasn't about music or anything like that. It was more along the lines of the moral implications of AI.
Yeah.
And not just like, it's going to like prevent jobs from happening and stuff like that, but like, how do you teach an AI if something is good or bad morally?
It all comes down to iRobot at the end of the day.
Yeah, kind of. But like, because they were talking about like how, Google image search is a very much like a user inputted learning agent, right? And so like it would identify things from people saying it's a certain thing. And one of the things was discovered early on was that people were putting in with images of gorillas, they were tagging them as black people.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things it was learning was racism. And it's just like, what the fuck, and like, how do you work through that? How do you work through that from that AI intelligent agent kind of thing?
It's like anything, like Jeff said, can be used for good or evil. So indiscriminately, right?
But I think that's the thing is like, how do we teach this kind of stuff to something that doesn't have that concept? I think was what that class was going for,
Yeah. And more frighteningly though, it's like it's sort of how should I put it? It's kind of the genie right out of the bottle. Yeah. You can't really control it. So if people wanted to do harm with it, they will.
Yeah.
Whether it's disinformation or straight out just grossness. I mean, you how do you stop that at this point?
Well, it's like the fucking with the algorithm and stuff like that. That the social media algorithms and stuff to make things look more because we've become so reliant on algorithms and stuff like that. People are using them to manipulate people and to do dumb shit like that.
Not to get too political, but to quote, Eldon Tyrell, yeah. Where it's all about commerce,
Yep. More human than human is our motto. Yeah, and that's just it. It's like, it's like going to sell more whiz bangs and widgets and stuff like that. Then we're going to do it and damn the moral implications of everything.
I think AI. Here's my take. This is the right answer for anybody who's wondering about this. Here's the right answer. People are talking about AI, and I think a lot of the conversation is like, who's going to win? Is it going to be IBM or Apple? And that's the wrong question.
No,
because like. The question is, are computers going into offices? Yes. Or is it Ricoh or is it Xerox? Who cares? It's copiers.
Right.
Like the game is paper and toner. It's not about the machine.
Right.
And the thing is like somebody's going to win. Somebody's going to make some sort of an AI system and it's going to win. And I think that there's a lot of questions that are being asked about like which one and everything like that. But here's the nut of it. In my opinion, the nut of it is that the training set for most AIs right now is approximately the internet.
Yep.
Like not exactly like there's some of it's walled off, but like ChatGPT, it's the internet before 2022.
Yeah.
DALL-E is the internet. Midjourney is the internet except the things that Google marks as NSFW.
Yeah.
Like there's a huge amount of stuff that's going into that. The name of the game with AI or machine learning is not anything other than the training set. Whoever figures out how to collect and systematically utilize training sets for specific uses and to democratize the building of robust training sets and sort of like, I don't know, simply like a thumbs up, thumbs down mechanic for like, do we like this? Do we not like this? And then tag why. Like that's where it's going to go. And so I actually think that it's either we're at a weird place with AI where, I mean, Justin, you might be right. The genie might be out of the bottle, but it also might be the genie out of the bottle with like the darknet. Like darknet was supposed to be a huge big thing, like a huge big force for good and democratization of the internet and decentralization to pull a lot of the web traffic out of sort of like centralization hands. And like obviously like darknet is just like not indexed because it's less permanent and more transient. And then what's his face made Silk Road. People were like, oh shit, people are buying trash cans full of cocaine and humans on this thing. It has to go. And then like this golden promise of this new internet
Yep.
is gone. And
the whole Silk Road story is interesting.
It's wild.
It's really wild, yeah.
And that's, I think, like we're at a similar juncture with a lot of the machine learning AI stuff.
I think it goes back to Jeff, though, to the big data problem, right? Which is, we've been collecting all our information and what can they use and what can't they use, but capitalism will just do as it pleases as long as it's technically, well, for example, the Copilot issue, and I'm familiar with that. Yeah. It's like, to me, that's really typical Microsoft evil because it's like, oh, you have open source stuff, it may be under, a new license or BSD license or whatever kind of license. We're just not going to respect that. We're just going to steal your code and use it in our Copilot tool. Yeah. That's insanity. I mean, what is that?
Yeah, I agree. But there is others. I mean, there are some things that have been pushing it in a good direction. Like there's been some really like massive privacy regulation changes with Facebook, Apple, some pretty big stuff with their with some of their privacy and do not track stuff. There's also been massive upgrades to privacy that have come out of Apple's handling of email openings. So now like all emails from a marketing perspective are marked as opened. They go into Apple devices. So if you're a marketer reading the email, like reading your metrics on email performance, all emails that show up in Apple devices show up as having been opened because all the images are scanned through a proxy server, which is, I mean, pixels are the way that you determine open.
Yep.
Sure.
So I don't know, like some things are moving for good, some things are moving for evil, but yeah, that Copilot stuff is some bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's absolutely some bullshit.
Oh yeah, it's interesting because it's like this. It reminds me of like the old like the hacker wars kind of thing that was going on in like the late 20th century, where it's like there was this constant battle of I got this tool, we have to find a fix for it, then I have a different tool and that kind of thing. And this is what's going on from this corporate level where it's like, Facebook's like, we're going to collect all this stuff. And then, Apple's like, we're going to block that. And then they're like, oh, don't buy Apple. They're evil. They're ruining our business because we don't get your information anymore. And,
no.
and that kind of thing.
Marketing too. We've been fine with it.
What's that?
Like, I work in marketing. I've worked in marketing for a long time, and my team is doing fine. Like, you adapt. Like, if you've got smart people, you adapt, and you don't have to exploit people to do great marketing that's really performant.
Absolutely. But I think the problem is that Facebook's business is people's information.
Well, yeah, but I mean, all platforms rise and fall. Facebook's worth less than Home Depot right now.
Yeah.
Like, that's the funniest thing that's true in 2023 right now is that Facebook's corporate value is literally less than Home Depot. As Mark Zuckerberg's like snow shovels money into the metaverse, which is nobody wants in his ass. Like, but what about these Nintendo Mii's? They're 20 years too late, but they're good Mii's, right?
They have feet now.
They're not. This is too tangential, but they're not as good as a Steinberg Helion.
That's true. Nothing. What is as good as a Steinberg? Steinberg put out something that's actually nice.
No, if I'm gonna do that, I'm going out to Second Life. I'm going all the way.
There you go, where you can just be a giant flying penis.
Yeah, it's sleazy as fuck. I'm not.
It is now. I'll tell you all stories about Second Life. I used to make good money in Second Life. I sold swords. I made
Really?
Yeah, I made one of the this is very early on, like 2001 ish.
Like in the early days. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like really early days. I coded one of the like a sword making system for roleplay and sold the system for creators to make swords.
Really?
That is awesome.
That's pretty amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
You better push up your glasses there, sir.
Robin is very impressed by this. She just threw up a whole bunch of animated sword emojis. So
let nerds play D&D on the internet.
Yeah, but yeah, it's I remember I went on Second Life when it first came out, and I'm just like, this is very confusing. And then all I heard about that it was just kind of like, have you ever heard of the Villages in Florida?
Oh yeah. It's like the swinger community.
No,
stuff?
it's a retirement community, right? So it's just like a legitimate like retirement community, but it's like the size of a city because it's Florida, right? And it's just kind of like, it's almost like it's its own micromanaged little environment kind of thing of old people. But one of the things they found out that there was this very huge underground of Viagra pushers, and there's a whole underground Viagra sales thing going on. And then they also found that there was this huge outbreak of chlamydia.
That's what it was, not swingers, just chlamydia.
And apparently, everyone was just like, it was just like mad crazy sex going on in the villages and stuff like that. And that's kind of like what Second Life feels like, where it's like, it looks like it'd be really cool. Then you walk in there and you're like, oh, everyone's a disease phase, you know.
So if we had show titles, I think virtual chlamydia would be right up there. So.
Yeah. You know, when there's anonymity, like anonymity plus capability equals people gonna make some naked cartoons.
They're gonna make some flying penises.
Yeah, just like naked cartoons. I don't know, but how many of those can you FM against? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get us on track on this Halion thing. I'm like, come hell or high water, here it is.
How many FM operators can you make out of penises that are virtual?
Turns out all of them.
Yeah.
Astonishing instruments and sounds.
Yes.
What's going on with this thing, Andrew?
The Halion. So this is like Steinberg's flagship virtual synthesizer. Steinberg, the makers of, do they still make Cubase, or is that somebody else nowadays?
No, they still make Cubase.
Okay.
This is like their alchemy, right?
This is like their alchemy. This is like their this is like their monster flagship synthesizer. It's got all kinds of bullshit in it. It's got FM, spectral wavetable, virtual analog, granular synthesis, sampling, all this bullshit. 70 effects, 35 gigabytes of content, 3,700 presets, so you never have to actually program the thing if you don't want to. It is a monster.
Yeah, this makes so much sense if you're in the Steinberg universe.
Right.
I mean, if you look at this UI, it reminds me so much of NI, and they've got these little consumable add-ons that you can put in there.
Yes. Yeah, it has its own little store. And you can get it for $350. Is the max is the full version of it. Then they have the
5 trash cans in chat. 5 trash cans.
It will cost you 5 trash cans. Now with 11% more bullshit.
Yeah, I rated 5 trash cans out of 5.
Bonus creature.
Yes.
Now with 11%
Well, it depends on how much
bullshit.
cocaine is in those trash cans, Jeff.
Right? Yeah. So yeah, they have a free player version of it, which is free, and that's just like for all the libraries that you can buy and stick into the motherfucker. And then you've got the collection, which is the free version of it with all of the things that you'd have to buy otherwise, and that's $250. And then for another $100, you get the premium quality software instrument. all the bullshit as well.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of bullshit. And,
What's the difference between the full version and the Sonic 7 collection?
I'm trying to figure it out. So so it says the Halion Sonic 7 collection combines the free player with all the amazing instruments of Halion 7. And then the full version says it's a groundbreaking premium quality software instrument developed to help you create world-class.
You know what's great? If you click on details, it takes you to the top of the page.
Yeah, I just did that, and that's incredibly useful.
You have to click up to the comparison thing to see it. So,
oh, I see it now.
Yeah, so it lets you build instruments. You can't build instruments unless you buy the Fancy Pants one.
Okay, I see that.
And you get a modulation matrix, you get a sample editor, you can do FM, you have a wavetable editor. This is my least favorite kind of software design, where they build the whole software and then they just like hack off the left foot and the right elbow of it, and they're like, here's the intro program. It's like you've just broken it. You got like a perfectly good oh sorry, I thought I hit enter on that. I've been doing this all night. I paste the next link into chat.
You did. It was just that the Streamlabs is trying to sell everybody's stuff too.
Got it. Sorry. I hate when they just like cripple stuff like that. It's terrible. So anyway, it's got all this stuff that you can't do. They just like hacked features out of it until you buy the Fancy Pants one. And the I don't know.
So this just came out, and yet it is. And here we go. Here goes Andrew. So I just scrolled all the way to the bottom, and it's Rosetta 2. So it's not even native M2 or native Apple Silicon. So you actually have to run this thing through.
Anyone that struggled to deal with VSTs over the years can probably attest to Steinberg's lack of responsiveness.
Yeah. You can still run this plugin in classic mode. So it's not. I used Cubase once, and it was was the worst experience in all of my DAW user history.
It's not good.
No. And I know people that swear by Cubase and think it's the most amazing thing in the world, and I thought it was a pile of garbage.
They're wrong.
Now, granted, this was in 2004, but I don't know if anything's changed.
It peaked then, by the way. It's not gotten better since. I've used Cubase for a couple things. I've had to use Cubase for a couple projects where I was like collaborating on things with people, and then I got asked to use it for some. It's common for like TV. Sound for picture stuff, and I got asked to use it for a couple of projects here and there over the years, and I don't like it.
No,
I don't want to use it. But it's all right. It happens. Yep. Hey, you know what is good though?
Would it happen to be medium interface to the small and large ones?
Yeah, Audien. These things are good. I love mine. I've been really happy with it. So I have the 44, is that what it's called? What is it? It's 44. They got weird numbers. It sounds super good. And
these are the Audient interfaces, the Audient audio interfaces, the ID series. I really wish they'd come out with an ID 10T. Only if you're a nerd do you get that joke.
Turn it on and off again.
So, and they just released a couple new sizes for it as well. So this is the ID24, which is 10 in, 14 out.
Mm-hmm.
Did you skip the UAD one?
Was there a UAD thing?
Did we?
Yeah, between Steinberg and Audien was a UAD plugin one.
Nope.
Dude, I'm looking at the show notes.
I'm looking at the show notes as well.
I think you might be looking. I think it might not get copied across, but we can find it. Let's see if we can get through all these.
Yeah, because we are ready. All right, so let's talk about the Audient. I'll look for it.
It's the Audient. So they're just. This is the Mark II of this series. They're pretty cool. They are really nice high-end audio interfaces, and they work as zero latency mixers. There's a computer-based digital mixer screen, works really well. And they now have this thing that they call the ID knob. It's not been super useful in my experience, but it's also not been like totally useless. So there's a button that says ID, and you can tap the ID button, and then the volume knob becomes not a volume knob. It becomes a rotary encoder for whatever software you're using. And you can push it and tap it, or you can twist it. And so you can use it actually to like adjust volume on tracks and skip across through stuff. It's pretty handy sometimes. My primary use of it has been if I'm playing guitar and I've got my hands full and I'm like standing up and I can adjust the volume on something like adjust a fader on a track with it pretty easily, rather than like trying to grab a mouse and do something with it.
That's handy.
Yeah, they're good.
That's cool.
They're neat. The preamps on the ID series won a bunch of awards at NAMM and some other events this year, or maybe was it NAMM? Was it not nominated NAMM? I can't remember, but they won a bunch of awards for the preamps and these things, like stacked up against like Neve consoles and things like that. They sound really, really good.
Very cool.
Yeah. I have the 1.4, and it's mostly used it for bass capture, and it is it's very nice.
Nice. Excellent. And those are now available as well. Go and buy them. Buy these things. They sound like they're really good. If you refresh your news page, gentlemen, you'll see the UAD news in there now.
The funny part is we're both right. I was looking at the wrong page. I was looking at the show notes from Basecamp. I wasn't looking at. I was looking at the news stories, not the
show notes.
Not the curated show notes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yes.
Well, there's the curated show notes. There it is.
We've got Universal Audio, the native versions of the UAD analog emulations, and 3 new plugin bundles. These look like fun.
Well, I just like that you don't need their stupid hardware. I mean,
right?
And that they run natively.
How well do they run natively is a question.
Yeah, unknown. It's very tempting, though, because that lexicon stuff sounds really good when you hear people using it. But I don't know. I have enough freaking reverbs. I don't need to gas over reverbs. So I think I might be developing a reverb problem because they've just come out with a lot of emulated 80s reverbs that I love.
Yeah.
And making them semi-affordable. I feel like these UAD ones, even without the hardware requirement, are a little pricey, in my humble opinion.
Yes, they start at $349 and go all the way up to $700.
It's goofy. They're not that good. Yeah. I mean, honestly, just like go buy that Chase Bliss pedal.
Yeah.
They call like the 1979 or something. Just go buy that.
Yeah.
Well, they have like synths and stuff like that in here as well. Like I'm looking at the Creative Edition. They have like the Mini Moog, the Polymax, the Opal, a bunch of like a B3. They have a Tape Echo, all this kind of fun stuff. But yeah, I don't know. One of the things I'm trying to find right now is like what the system requirements are.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know what the specific system requirements are, but what I do know is that this UAD stuff really like rose to prominence with the onboard effects. I don't know, like a decade-ish ago.
Mm-hmm.
Ish. When doing that stuff in real time on your computer was really hard if you didn't want to have a bunch of latency. And so if you're trying to like play live into your computer, it was really hard to do with a lot of latency. And so offloading that into this device was cool. Now computers are like 27 times more powerful, and the reverbs are not 27 times more complicated.
Right.
I think they've realized the game is up. I think with that.
Yeah, it's over. It's done. Yeah, and their audio interfaces are fine. They are not as good as the Audient stuff. It's just they had a computer. They're not as good as Audient or Motu, and they're certainly not as good as something like RME, which like smokes everybody.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, they can't even compete with Waves because even Waves is cheaper than.
It's not for me.
Yeah, but I'm just looking, they don't really have any. Like everything is pretty generic as far as that just says like minimum software requirements.
Mm-hmm.
And like
have you
how much space?
Whatever Mac. It's gonna. I mean, if you go look at what the if you go look at what the hardware is in those UAD devices,
Yeah.
most of them are like, I don't know, like several years old Intel i chips.
Mm-hmm.
They're sort of like mid-spec computers, running like an embedded OS, I guess.
Yeah.
Some sort of embedded system stuff.
Okay.
So
Well, there you go. UADs.
not gonna take outpace it.
Throw some
You should
money at
never
them
got
if you want it.
sound cards.
Right.
You know what is another good emulation of hardware that is reasonably priced is these Moger Fogers, and there's a special deal on them, $100 off
Until the end of the
Moog.
month. So you've got another couple days to go and pick up a Moger Foger for $149, or the Moger Fogers.
It's all of them, yeah.
All
It's
of
a pretty
them, $150.
it's a pretty decent deal. I have them, and they are not versatile. So you need to know what they are. Do
Right.
not buy this if you think that like, oh, it has a delay in it and it has a phaser in it and that I could use that as my delay. No, false. You cannot. It's not that. It is the thing that it is. It is remarkably much the thing that it is. And if you like the thing that it is, it's good.
Yeah.
I don't think they're worth $249 honestly, but like I probably wouldn't honestly give $249 for the whole set of actual physical Moger Fogers set in front of me either.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I like Moog stuff a lot, but I just they sound neat. They're just not that useful.
No, I agree.
But at $149, I think it's a pretty good deal.
It's a better price. So yeah, that's coming up. That's end of the month is when that is going to be done. Speaking of things that'll be done, our good friends, and I'm going to put air quotes around the word friends, at Behringer are coming out with a Jupiter 8 style paraphonic analog synthesizer for Eurorack. There it is. No much information other than them saying we want to do this. We're going to want to build this. Would you pay? I think it was like $299 for it.
This thing's like a click up from a render. It looks like it looks like they took what's that thing? Was it the Ice 9 from Black Corporation? It looks like they like peeled off the front of the Ice 9 and like threw it on their cat or something and put on some of the 808 buttons. I don't know. It's a very funny picture to me. I don't know why it's as funny as it is, but it is very funny to me.
Right?
Yeah, it's got the same buttons as the Behringer RD8. You notice that?
Yeah.
It's like they just horked the like.
They're just piecing it. This is like an announcement thing. This is probably not. Maybe one might not be what the final product looks like. The final product might not ever exist. This is another one of those Behringer. We're going to throw everything at the wall and see what sticks.
None of it is real.
Right. This is they're taking they're also supposedly working on a Jupiter 8 keyboard synth, and so they just took one of the voices and they threw it into a Eurorack and put some shit on it and put some greebles and some hootie hadas on there and said, look, it's a single voice or paraphonic version. It's Jupiter 2.
I'm so done at yelling at pictures of Behringer shit that doesn't exist. I'll be honest with you. Like, let something actually. It's like there's a radio show called The Goon Show from the 1950s.
Yep.
And there's a famous skit where he's like, the one guy says, "I'm extremely hungry. I think I'm going to die." And he looks at him and says, "No worry. Here's a photograph of a delicious sandwich." It's like, this is exactly what's going on here. I don't have time for this. Like if they release something, I could criticize it, but I can't.
Anything. Release anything. Anything. It's been 2 years, Uli.
Not gonna happen. Anyway, we just want to throw that out there that's a thing. Hayes Anderson says we already have all the synths we need. I have all this time in the world for more pictures.
Okay, all right, fair enough. If they were saying they're going to make cool synth art, they're going to make synth art porn, I'd be like, fine.
Yeah.
That's what you guys do now. It's great.
I would just like them to make something that's their own. It's laughable at this point. I don't know. It's all just clone.
Yeah, they got those folks at Midas who made the D-Mine 12, which, love it or hate it, was probably the best thing they've made.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
And
sounds
even that's not that great.
Well, actually, yeah, and the Neutron sounds pretty good too. I mean, there's things that they can do it. They just need to they got to roll up their sleeves and focus on what makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway, Behringer supposedly doing something at some point. We don't know when. Fuck them. All right.
Here's the Anima Phi. It's back.
The Anima Omega. Ooh, I want to take you to Bermuda, Bahama. Come on.
Yeah, I asked in base camp. I couldn't remember if we
did we
reviewed
discuss this before? It looks vaguely familiar, but it also looks a lot like that Waldorf thing. So
we talked about the Anima Phi. This is the
yeah, the Omega.
The Anima Omega.
Omega.
The
Yeah.
Anima
So
Omega.
the Anima Phi is a small one,
Right.
and it sounded crazy good.
Mhm.
This thing is sick if you read the specs on it. Not only is it polyphonic, but they way surpassed their Kickstarter goals, and it's got MPE support, it's got polyphonic aftertouch, it's got micro tuning capabilities,
Yeah.
and it's got physical modeling. And I know, Andrew, you're a fan of some of the Korg stuff. I don't know. Like, I think this is the only downside to this. I mean, they've got it. It's got a FTAR keyboard. I mean, the specs look amazing on this thing.
Right.
And the UI looks gorgeous. And some of this, they have that little sort of Morphe style controller on the left, and they've got the sort of like the little bar, the CS80 sort of slider. I don't know. It sounds really cool. The only downside is the demos didn't show enough physical modeling for me.
Yeah.
They showed a lot of the other synth engines, and it's got a bunch of synth engines, like 3 or 4, I think. I just, to me, if you're going to get this, it's got to do something different. You know what I mean? And the physical modeling is supposed to be the main purpose. If you listen to the Phi, it does it really well, especially stringed instruments and plucks and stuff.
Yeah.
Really, really well.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, I think that they're probably showing off the new stuff because it's got to be using the same engine.
Yeah, it's probably still using the same AI as.
No, that's an AI with a little A and a little I, right?
Yeah.
Not the
Hi. It's probably the same physical modeling engine that was in the Phi, because building physical modeling engines, I think the person that invented the Korg Moss physical modeling system is probably in an asylum somewhere, sitting next to the guy that invented the LCD.
If you want to go crazy, like, Google Car Plus Strong and like see how you end up on the other end of that. Like,
yeah, exactly. So yeah. But I mean, it looks like it's going to be like a powerhouse of a synthesizer if it comes out. The thing that always makes me nervous is like, this company, it could just be like a fly by night kind of thing. Who knows? Desktop is going for $960 on here. So
the Phi is out. You can buy it at Tommen. It's got really good reviews. It's basically like 5-star reviewed on Tommen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're available, and like people seem to be very happy with them. The new one, the Omega, is using the same synth engine, it says.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like it's $1,650 for the keyboard and €1,200 for the desktop. That's very competitive in my opinion.
For what it has in it, it sounds like it's definitely going to be a big thing. So cool.
Yeah.
And finally tonight, we have the UVI Percussion Factory, the creative rhythm designer. Hit enter, Jeff. There you go.
I did.
So Justin, you posted this one up.
Yeah, I think this is fun. I'm a big rhythm person, but I really, really think this is interesting. UVI is, they've done a lot of stuff with, they're super good at samples and creating sample libraries that make sense. But I like it when they do stuff like this, because it's like they're kind of like creating interesting workflows.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got a lot of cool sounds on it. I mean, you can do all kinds of stuff. But what's really fun is it's sort of like generative capabilities.
It's like an 8-track Euclidean sequencer.
Yeah, it's like you can literally press a button and it'll make a beat, and then you can tweak it, and then you can tweak sounds. And I think for someone just getting started, or just even if you just want to like kick your creativity into gear, I think that's kind of a fun concept. but it sounds gorgeous. I own some of their like world music stuff, their world percussion things, and they sound just amazing. So I think this is pretty cool. I mean, it's probably fairly niche. You'd have to want these sounds, but
Right.
apparently you can add your own samples to it, so you can kind of do whatever you want with it if you like the engine and
Nice.
you like the way it works.
99
You've
bucks
got-
right now. It's regular 149. So if this is something that you're into, then you can pick that up now for a bargain.
Yeah, Venus Theory does a really good review in it
Mm-hmm.
if you want to check it,
He's always
Mhm.
fun.
for sure.
He's a fun buckaroony. Yeah, and that's our news for tonight. Tune in next time for our 50th show.
Good Lord, really?
Yeah, this is show 49. We are about to hit the milestone of 50 fucking shows, and we still have not figured out how to do it right, which is even better. So tune in 2 weeks where we fuck it up even worse.
It's a race to the bottom here at the
That's
Tangent.
right. Maybe we'll have, maybe Christoph will come back and hang out with us. No, he'll be here. He'll be back then. Maybe we can get some special guests to help us celebrate the 50th show. Maybe
Oh,
we
that
can.
would be fun.
Maybe we can sneak Toto Robin back on, and maybe we can throw Tony into the mix. Maybe we can get all of everybody, and we can just make it
Yeah.
a clusterfuck, and we just all try to talk over each other for 2 hours.
It'll be like an early pandemic Zoom call. Nobody gets anything.
Will be, and I'll just and we can have someone just being like, "What? I can't hear you. I can't hear you," over and over again, and babies crying in the background, and then we could all die or something. I don't know. Anyway, this was Tangents episode 49 on this beautiful February evening. Who are we gonna go and hit? Let me go through our options as far as who we can go and talk to. There's a lot of people online tonight. We could raid over to Sid Hersey, who's always entertaining. We can bounce over to Purple Bee TV, who's just gobsmacking. Dark Sun Music is up right now. +6 Productions. And then, of course, Mr. Horologist. If you let us sit
I feel
down
like
and watch.
We've sent Mr. Horologist a lot of traffic in the last year. I think we should mix it up.
You know, he actually gets a lot of traffic. He's got 79 viewers right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he gets a lot of traffic. People love watching him fix watches. Hoot House live stream. They got babies owls now, so that's also a thing. So who do we want to throw at? Do you want to hit at Sid or Killer Bee or Purple Bee? There's a lot of bees going on right now.
It's too bad we couldn't find any philatelists because that would be
I
fascinating.
know, right? Or Lepidopterists.
This is like a Venture Brothers. Good times. You decide, Andrew.
Great. Okay, well, +6 is just playing video games. We're not going to do that one. Fuck that. Let's bounce over to Killer Bee tonight. We did that last week, and he's got his video is just insane.
Good.
So I'm going to learn to spell correctly. It's not the Really team, it's the Relay team. All right, and we are getting ready to go. Everyone have a great night. Thanks for joining us. See you in 2 weeks. Kisses.
Good night.